Coming up on AEA Amplified, industry veteran Ray Larkin offers the latest news from SKYTRAC Systems.
From the Aircraft Electronics Association, this is AEA Amplified, a podcast for aviation's technology experts, with your host, Jeff Hill.
Hello and welcome to AEA Amplified, sponsored by Genesis Aerosystems, a Moog company and a leading provider of integrated avionics systems for military and civil operators around the world. From rugged integrated flight displays to digital flight control systems for rotor and fixed-wing aircraft, Genesis has solutions to increase safety and decrease pilot workload. To learn more about how Genesis can help your customers, visit genesis-aerosystems.com. Hi, everybody. I'm your host, Jeff Hill, for this October 5th, 2021 edition of AEA Amplified. And our guest today is no stranger to the AEA community. We are visiting with Ray Larkin of SKYTRAC Systems, which is a global leader in providing connectivity solutions for the aviation industry. And Ray is a graduate of St. Louis University. He's a certified aircraft technician for over 30 years, and he spent a decade of service in the Air Force specializing in wideband communication systems. He's made a career being dedicated to supporting aviation communication advances to both business jet and air transport operations. So, Ray, thank you so much for joining us today. I hope everything's going well, and we've got a lot of ground to cover. So let me just dive right into it. Ray, as you know, SKYTRAC was founded back in 1986, so it's been in operation for over 35 years. And then in October of 2017, SKYTRAC was acquired by the ACR Group as an independent business unit alongside a family of complementary companies. And then about a year later after that, in November of 2018, Latitude Technologies was acquired and merged under SKYTRAC Systems as a single entity. And that created a company with over 65 years of combined experience. So SKYTRAC is now technically one company with two leading brands. So Ray, let me start by asking you, what are you noticing in the world of aviation today?
Well, hi, Jeff. Thanks for having me on today. You know, we're just like everybody else. We see a lot of changes in the world, and there's a lot of restrictions in commercial air travel, and that's kind of translated into this greater reliance on the utility of on-demand travel, you know, particularly in private executive air travel sectors. You know, flight department ops demand transportation is quick, safe, and it affords them a high level of positive control over the executive time, and they get to that by using private and fractional flight operations. You know, and I suppose we're experiencing the same as everybody else. There's an increasingly accelerated pace of technological advancement going on.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And what are SKYTRAC's most compelling product sets and services for business aviation?
No, when we look at our product set, it's really a cascaded product set. So we really deploy the most useful to the operation and the most return on investment impactful. There's always been this question about what's the cost of not investing. Well, in this particular instance, it's operational savings. And you get to increase the general value of the aircraft through some of the extended utility. You know, today we're going to focus on the products and services to the larger turboprops and jets. And these are fundamental aircraft in special mission utility and or providing passenger transport roles. So, you know, really our core products are SATCOM terminals, the dialing and message control devices, broadband connectivity, which we'll talk about, safety service data link and voice, flight data monitoring analytics, automated flight following, and electronic flight bag process automation. So I always try to sum up our core competencies as being kind of a one-stop provider of these products and services, but generally it's communications, surveillance, and data analytics. Now, SKYTRAC really excels at intelligent data transmission, collection, storage, and analysis. This enables the operator actionable outcomes and enhances their operational savings. You know, at the end of the day, you hear the phrase big data, and it's all about big data. We analyze it, we trend it, listen to it, it'll tell you a story. Our products are interrelated, and ultimately the information flow restriction is that funnel that's sometimes referred to as the pipe. You know, supporting the speed, integrity, and global coverage areas that operator can receive and send information concerning their aircraft. And those are important data points, or telemetry data, the information about the location of the aircraft, the altitude, the speed, and the direction.
Ray, can you elaborate a little bit more about SKYTRAC's work in broadband connectivity solutions and what sets the company apart, maybe from some of the other solutions on the market?
I think if I could sum it up in one word, we're targeted. We're very targeted. We've spent many years and we've been closely working with the development of hardware and refining those utilities and services that are available over that hardware. We have a very rich experience with product set development with Iridium, from the very original Block 1 constellation to its replacement constellation called Iridium Next. There's many new things become enabled by Iridium Next constellation in the broadband service. Uh, this kind of improvement brings on innovation through enabled connectivity. It's a shift from what we used to think as circuit switched, which are direct phone lines, or short burst data, which are small bursting messages. It's now graduating, matriculating, if you will, to usable IP connectivity at a much higher data speed.
And Ray, where does SKYTRAC excel in business aviation?
We're very customer centric company. We do safety services through this intelligent connectivity, and we're a one stop provider. Collectively, I don't know if this makes us unique, but it certainly makes us special.
And can you tell us a little bit about the safety services and the intelligent connectivity?
What we're doing here, Jeff, is we're leveraging our experience from our recent activities supporting the Future Air Navigation, or FANS mandates. And what we did is we did a purposely designed utility of a Latitude DL-150 satellite data unit. What we did was we provided what was required, and we didn't load the product up with non-mandated additional features. Basically we delivered the mail, if you will, in exactly the correct measure required. And we kind of coupled that, and we further developed and fielded our S200 SkyNode Safety Services voice product. And this was directly safety service related for pilot to controller voice communications. Advancements in satellite-based communications come about, and we can directly translate this into faster communication times. And there were new criteria, and these were time-based performance criteria that we were able to support and meet.
And Ray, can you talk to us a little bit about the Iridium communications to the cabin and flight deck?
Iridium's got specific benefits. It's very resilient. It's reliable. It provides global coverage. It's simple, and importantly, it's low latency. This is all related to the specific satellite network type. And some of the geostationary space segments, they're 24,000 miles up. And geostationary means that the service area doesn't change. The footprint stays the same. The aircraft moves inside that service footprint, and the signals can become a little degraded as the elevation angles change as you get to the higher and lower latitudes, until ultimately the aircraft will transition out of range. And with high Earth orbit satellites, the number of satellites is typically very few. It's only on the order of about 4 satellites. On the other hand, with low Earth orbit space segments, the altitude is less than 500 miles. Additionally, the Iridium Next constellation is on a polar orbit, and the satellites are always moving. The use of these multiple satellites and multiple orbital planes ensures that you get about a 99.9% global connectivity coverage, and you get that about 99.9% of the time. So, with the Iridium Next constellation, it consists of 6 orbital planes with 11 satellites in each plane. And these satellites are continuously in motion as the Earth rotates below them. The lower altitude orbit requires lower power avionics and smaller antenna subassemblies, and this translates into significant reduction in both weight, size, and power requirements for the aircraft systems. It's important to note that these types of communication delays, for any radio or SATCOM system, they'll encounter a propagation delay, which is basically how long does it take for the electronic signal to travel through air and space. And the second delay we have to deal with is the transmission delay. And that's the time between those electronic signals as they move through the network. And that has to be inclusive of all the processors, the routers, and various buffers to get it to and from the destination. We just covered this, but the specific note is the inherent latency in the propagation of signals to and from the space vehicles that are 500 miles away versus 24,000 miles away. This delay introduces challenges to many IP systems and networks, because these systems are operating in a range of billions of cycles per second. So reducing these delays improves the time-based integrity of the communications.
So with the Iridium Certus terminals, I guess it begs the question of how fast is fast?
Fast is fast. That's a relative question. It's relative to the needs and enhancements of the operation. Connectivity speeds cost. It's an investment. Certus enables affordable connectivity solutions to aircraft that otherwise have been excluded, due to the relative cost of the hardware or the weight and power penalties of the available avionics. I like to say the future is now. SKYTRAC's delivering its SDL 350 broadband terminals in November of this year, and we're very excited. I mean, this was certainly not an insignificant task. We were initially offering two types of terminals. The first one will be our Certus SDL 350. It's a single transceiver device for high-speed data, and it provides connectivity to the cabin supporting the passenger internet experience. Systems speeds are symmetrical at 352 kilobits per second from the aircraft and up to 704 kilobits to the aircraft. This supports internet protocol or IP-based connectivity for pretty much anything that you can do over standard IP connection. Additionally, SKYTRAC terminals support Wi-Fi connections in the cabin for interface with smart devices. And we further enhance that off-aircraft connectivity through an alternative connection, specifically the ability to connect over a GSM cellular network and even to private Wi-Fi networks while on the ground. So our product developments in fourth quarter of 2022 will bring us to our second terminal. This offering will be the SDL 350-04 fans for future air navigation. And what this is, it's just a dual transceiver device supporting both the cabin connectivity for the passengers and providing a safety partition transceiver supporting independent flight deck services. So we're going to be able to support future air navigation, controller pilot sat voice, electronic flight bags, live weather graphics, and other things that can enhance the aircraft operation.
And once again, we are visiting with Ray Larkin of SKYTRAC Systems here on AEA Amplified, sponsored by Genesis Aerosystems, a Moog company. And Ray, what is the importance of Certus connectivity in new generation solutions?
Jeff, our avionics are space, weight, and power efficient, and they offer comparable bandwidth. And this really enhances the range of services and applications over a much wider range of aircraft types and models. These systems were not relying on building an extensive ground infrastructure, but leveraging that elegance in a low Earth orbit satellite constellation. When's the last time someone ever mentioned that their connectivity was too fast? I think you adjust the application around the data speeds that are available.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And Ray, are there any business aviation implications on the topic of global aircraft distress safety systems?
Well, it's kind of the same shell, connectivity and the timely delivery of aircraft data. We're deploying new products supporting this global aircraft distress safety system. The big news here is that there's a mandate out of the EASA for aircraft that have a gross takeoff weight of 129,000 pounds or greater with an occupant capacity of 19 people or greater. And these aircraft must equip with GADS to operate in Europe. GADS is compliance. It's an automated distress and safety system that goes beyond that basic GPS reporting, and it keeps all the stakeholders, completely and fully informed of the in-flight safety incident if one occurs. Our system analyzes aircraft sensor data in real time and automatically detects any safety and maintenance events. And it starts to send an escalating status update through the entire duration of that in-flight incident. Fundamentally, this acts as a virtual black box. It sends full flight logs into a secure data center for remote retrieval and analysis. So SKYTRAC's distress tracking lets you know what's gone wrong, when it happens, and it allows the operator to proactively investigate why.
And can you tell us about the Sentinel Advanced Flight Reporting Program?
Yeah, we have an enriched flight data analytics software service. It's for both analog and digital aircraft, and it's come based with a very intuitive self-serve software interface. It's the system data we provide. An operator can analyze all flights against their standard operating procedures. It helps them identify areas of operational risk. It also helps qualify those risks based on the level of severity, and it helps them reduce or eliminate risks from turning into a major hazard. This helps to monitor and improve the performance of the flight crews, the aircraft maintenance, and the flight procedures.
And Ray, in terms of approach, how does SKYTRAC approach creating solutions for its various customers in the business and general aviation markets?
Well, I guess it boils down to one thing. It's all about partnering. partnering, and you need to partner to understand the operational needs. And then you pair that with the evolving landscape of both the regulatory requirements against specific use cases, from remote firefighting to executive transport roles and pretty much everything in between. So we actively seek out input into our products and solutions. We speak with customers globally, and we often hear pain points that need to be addressed. Our engineering team, it spans across Canada, from our offices in Victoria, in Kelowna, and in Ottawa. And our engineering staff can help create custom solutions and applications as needed.
And what do the OEMs, the avionics shops, those AEA member repair stations, and the MROs need to know about SKYTRAC and your variety of products and services?
Well, we really want them to understand the basic systems architecture, and that helps understand those nuances of installation. There's simplicity of installation. What are the constraints and limits of the hardware and the services available? These are all really fundamental keys in setting that appropriate expectation. We have to manage that user experience. So it's simple stuff, actually, not overselling a capability and never overpromise. Jeff, we don't know what we don't know until we've vetted it, and done it end to end, and we've proven it. And we can address many connectivity needs a customer has, and we're very keen to coordinate and collaborate with OEMs, avionics shops, and MROs, and to better help us serve our customers.
Well, Ray, today is October the 5th, as we noted earlier, and that's exactly 1 week before the NBAA Business Aviation Convention and Exhibition begins next week at the Las Vegas Convention Center. And SKYTRAC will be exhibiting, I believe, in booth 1317 during the show. Your company will also be hosting a press conference on October the 12th, a week from today, with Latitude Technologies and Free Flight Systems and Flight Data Systems. So can you give us a glimpse or some insight into what your plans are for the National Business Aviation Association convention next week?
Well, we're real excited to be there, and again, with the strength of the ACR companies that'll be in attendance. We do have a press event, and each of our we call them sister companies. We'll have a little bit of news to put out. But one of our big pieces of news directly relates to our service product sets. And I'm really happy to announce on this podcast that we've established a relationship with Satcom Direct to cooperatively work in the business aviation and executive aviation community. So we're really looking forward to the show this year.
Yeah, that's big news, and of course, Satcom Direct is another AEA member company. And before we let you go, I do want to ask you about something that I recently stumbled across, I think, on social media just a few months ago at this year's AEA convention in Dallas back in June, and that took place at the Hilton Anatole. You recreated a photo with another AEA member in Mark Lebovitz, and I believe the original photo was first shot way back at the 1993 AEA convention, and that was at the same hotel in Dallas. So what is the story behind those two photos that were taken 28 years apart?
28 years apart. When it was held, it was the Lowe's Anatole at the time, and it was at the Oil Barons Ball, and I did a new product announcement there for a product called Magnastar. Anyway, I was absolutely scared to death, and Monty came over and kind of invited me into the family, and he took me under his wing, and I got through all of that. But it was that event where I had met Mark Lebovitz, and I had spoke to him. And we decided that we were going to shake hands, and we were going to do STC and kits to simplify the installation of this business air telephone. We did, and it turned out to be just a wonderful product set, a great relationship. And since that time, I've been very keen to work with the AEA, and I look back on those memories very fondly. But we actually were able to knock it out of the park. And if we didn't have an opportunity to get together, we probably would have stumbled around and found other partners. But at the end of the day, we pulled it off, and we've been just going like mad ever since. It's been great.
Yeah, those are certainly some great memories. And Ray, obviously there's a lot of new and exciting things happening with SKYTRAC, and we appreciate your time. Is there anything we missed or that you'd like to add or share with our listeners?
No, I think that sums it up. I mean, we're all happy to get back in the saddle again at Dallas. We're really looking forward to the NBAA and see industry come back together again. So We'll see you all there. You come visit us. We're in 1317, and we'd be more than happy to give you a face-to-face on what our new product sets are and services that we have to offer.
Well, we'll certainly look forward to seeing you next week in Las Vegas at NBAA. And that's Ray Larkin of SKYTRAC Systems here on AEA Amplified. To learn more about the company, visit them online at skytrac.ca, and that is SKYTRAC.ca. So again, thank you to Ray Larkin. Let me remind our listeners for a couple of some important items. The first one is the AEA's Next Connect conference is going to take place later this month, October 27th and 28th. And that will be the AEA West Connect Conference in Reno, Nevada. That's at the Grand Sierra Resort. Registration is open along with hotel information at aea.net/connect. And the AEA also will be hosting a Connect conference in Europe. So join us in Cologne, Germany, November 17th and 18th at the Hyatt Regency Cologne. Registration for that event is also online at aea.net/connect. And I also want to encourage those of you who are planning to attend next year's AEA International Convention and Trade Show in New Orleans to save the dates and book your hotel rooms now. The show is going to take place March 28th through the 31st at the Ernest N. Memorial Convention Center. But please keep in mind that the NCAA Men's Basketball Final Four takes place in New Orleans immediately following the conclusion of the AEA convention. So you're going to want to secure your hotel rooms now before it's too late. And you can find a hotel reservations link for the AEA room block at the Hilton New Orleans Riverside at aea.net/convention. And incidentally, early bird registration has just opened. It opened up a couple of days ago, and it'll be available through December the 31st at the end of the year. So you can register to attend and save $180 per person with the early bird rate that's available through December 31st. And a link again for that to register would be at aea.net/convention. And finally, if your company is hiring, just a reminder, please don't forget to post your career opportunities on the AEA jobs board at aea.net/jobs. And free resume posting is also available for job seekers. So check it out at aea.net/jobs. And that is going to wrap it up for today. We hope you can join us again soon for another episode of AEA Amplified, sponsored by Genesis Aerosystems, a Moog company. To learn more about how Genesis and its full range of products can help you, visit genesis-aerosystems.com. Until next time on AEA Amplified, so long everybody, and be safe.